Hey guys, so for today's movie review, I'm going to talk about the film Powder. It's a film that stars Mary Steenburgen, Lance Henriksen, and Jeff Goldblum. I do not recognize the director. I guess it's Victor Salva. I really don't know what else he directed, so I really couldn't tell you there. But in Powder, you guys, here's the cover again. It's about a boy that has this very pale skin, very skinny. His parents really didn't accept him at first. His mother died at birth while she was giving birth to him. The father never really accepted him, so he lived with the grandparents, which was kind of the closest family he had who would raise him. Things happen with the grandparents, and it gets to the point where the boy who has a nickname of Powder, and it's his nickname is Powder. I think his real first name was Jeremy, like Jeremy Reed or something like that. So that was his real name, I think. But throughout this review, we will call him Powder. Um, so he has this nickname of Powder, and his grandparents, they pass away eventually through natural causes, and he has to find a place to live. The people who eventually find him at this house that he lived in find out that he never went to school. He just heard about it. That really the only form of education he has had was through these books that he has in his basement that he was basically stored in throughout the course of his life. Um, he's very intelligent. He knows all the books in there by heart. He like knows the pages by heart. Like he can tell you like word per word what it says on every page. So it gets to the point where there's these people who find him, played by Mary Steenburgen, and Lance Henriksen plays the sheriff. They bring him to a school. They bring him to a place where he can live with these other kids that really don't have parents, and they're kind of um, they're kind of orphans in a sense, I guess. Um, and so, people really don't accept him. But the unique thing about Powder is he has all these abilities. It's not just electrical, it's not just, being able to see what other people are thinking and feeling. He has several different kind of abilities throughout the film, and it's revealed throughout the course of the film what all those abilities are. So because of that, I really can't say too much just because there is so many abilities that this guy possesses. Um, so, these people have a hard time accepting him, and he runs into troubles with bullies. He falls in love with a girl. The father of the girl isn't too happy about that. And so he's trying to just live his life, but people are always trying to ask him questions and they want to research him and study him. And so Powder doesn't really want to be around people because of that. He's worried that if he spends too much time around people, that all these things about, the things on their mind about him, what they're curious about, is always going to come up. That he's just kind of this guy for study and really can't be taken like anybody else, like any other human being. So Powder's trying to find himself. It's a difficult ride for him, but he has to find out what he is, what he can do, the people who he can trust, the people who he has to avoid. So kind of like anything in life, I mean, we just got to find those people who will help us get to success, and we have to avoid those that will, uh, make us feel bad about ourselves. We have to be around the people that will respect the abilities that we provide to the world, who we want to be. So Powder's kind of a film where we kind of think about that of ourselves as this character finds these things within himself because he's just kind of been locked in his basement his whole life, and he really doesn't know what's out in the world, and he doesn't really know a lot about himself. So Powder, you guys, it was a decent film, and it's nothing too spectacular. But for the positives and negatives, I thought the musical score in this was very good. I do recognize the music composer of this film. It's Jerry Goldsmith. He's done a lot of musical scores. Nothing comes to mind right now, but he's a name that I'm familiar with. Kind of like John Williams, John Williams has done a million musical scores. But Jerry Goldsmith's musical score in this was very good. So musical score wise, this film is definitely up to par with that kind of stuff. Jeff Goldblum, he's known for his character acting from Jurassic Park, The Fly. I think he was in Man of the Year with Robin Williams. He's done a lot of character acting. In this film specifically, for sure, he definitely represents that character acting ability. Um, so if you like Jeff Goldblum, this is definitely a film where you kind of see his special acting spark come into play throughout the film. He's always playing like the smart guy that's kind of has a smart alecky attitude, kind of like what he did with the Fly in Jurassic Park, and he brings that to the character he plays in this film. He plays a science teacher who's intrigued by Powder and his abilities. I thought the film has a reasonable story pace. It's definitely a well paced film. It's not too slow, it's not too fast. It goes at the right pace that you think a film like this would go at, specifically, with this, guy being rejected by society and learning himself and everything. The pace for all that idea is very well done here. Um, there is some occasional effective drama in here, whether it's, trying to make you feel sad, trying to make you feel happy. So there is some occasional moments in this film where that drama is very effective. There is some good special effects in here. I mean, I don't even know when this film was made. Let's see if I can find out when it was made. Doesn't say on here. My guess is probably the 90s if I were to take a guess. It had kind of a 90s feeling, but it definitely held up. I mean, some of the special effects in this film definitely hold up pretty well. So special effects wise, it's pretty good. Um, Now on to the negatives. One problem I had throughout this film, you guys, is there was some really bad stereotyping, specifically with the characters and some of the behaviors they have. Because with Powder, it's definitely a film where this kid's kind of a reject of society, and like any other film that's been made, a million other of these, like Carrie and all that other stuff, and Edward Scissorhands, just the characters and their behaviors are very, very stereotyped. I mean, like the bully is the exact kind of bully you would see in Carrie and in Edward Scissorhands. And in films where there's somebody with a unique ability that's obviously has a very unique look, and this film has the most stereotype of the stereotypes. And after a while, it just kind of got really annoying, and you really wish that they kind of just used their original ideas and came up with some more original and interesting characters. This film reminds me, like I was saying before, it reminds me of some better movies that I wish I was watching while I was watching the film. It reminded me of Edward Scissorhands. It reminded me of Carrie. It reminded me of Green Mile, all of which are better films, I thought, than this film. So because of that, there's really no reason to go back to Powder because I could watch Edward Scissorhands, Carrie, or Green Mile and already have a better film to go back to. Um, I thought Powder had too many abilities in this film, and the problem with him having too many abilities is it leaves too many open doors of ideas open, and because there's so many things they could do because of all these abilities that are shown and offered to us, it doesn't really take all of them. Like it'll say, okay, for this first half of the film, we'll focus on this ability. For this half, we'll focus on this ability. Focus on this ability, and then we'll focus on this ability. And it's just like I really wish it could have came together and maybe he used all these abilities throughout the film and it would have felt more cohesive, more like a whole piece. Because it almost felt like little individual films throughout the film just because certain moments of the film focused on certain abilities and it never quite came together as what is Powder's ability or abilities. Because after a while it just kind of came jumbled and all over the place of what his exact abilities were. And by the end of the film, just like, okay, well, he had this, and this as abilities. And after a while, it just kind of it became, very hard to keep on track of what all these abilities are. Um, and overall, guys, this film really isn't nothing too memorable. Like I said, it just reminds me of Edward Scissorhands and Carrie and Green Mile. Put all those together and you'll get Powder. And I mean, like I was saying before, any one of those three films is already a better film. So Powder, you guys, I do give it a 7.5 out of 10. Like I was saying before, the musical score in this is pretty good. Jeff Goldblum's character acting is very good in this if you like him as an actor. And the story is well paced. And like I said, that some of the drama and special effects were also well done. But besides all those, this film has really nothing to offer as far as standing out, making me want to come back to the film right away. And for that matter, the ending of this film I thought wasn't very impressive. It just kind of gave up on itself. So 7.5 out of 10 for me, you guys. It's an okay film. It's not a bad film. Not not a great one either. Definitely not a film I plan on owning. It's not that good. Um, but like I said before, if you like those things I was stating for the positives, it might be worth at least one view. I really, like I said, I really can't see myself watching this several more times. So Powder, you guys, it's an okay film.